Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mal and I am the owner and maker of Made by Manny and Mal. In today's video, we're going to be creating a tumbler that was inspired by another tumbler maker. She made a design that is kind of like a half and half split and has a word kind of opposite. It's really hard to describe it. Here's her tumbler. I will have her name and Instagram link listed in the description box below. And when I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw this tumbler, I was immediately inspired to make my own. So I'm going to make kind of a variation of what she did. Be sure to check out her original post and go give her some love because this design credit goes to her 100%. She was the first one I saw do this and totally what inspired this design. So I'm going to be showing you how I made my own version of this, and I really hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you're inspired by my design. And if you post any versions of this, or if you're inspired, be sure to tag me in your photos at Made by Manny and Mal on Instagram, because I would love to see what you come up with. Everything I'm using will be listed down in the description box below, so be sure to check that out if you want to know where I got any of the products I'm using. I'll also have some discount codes for my most favorite products listed down there as well. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's go. We're starting with a fully prepped and sanded 30-ounce skinny straight from Craft Haven. This is my favorite style from them. And we're going to be using this kind of alcohol ink looking patterned vinyl for our design. And I like this because it kind of all flows together, but it's really unique and kind of dimensional and just, it's really pretty. So we're going to start off by doing a half wrap on our cup with this vinyl. So I'm going to take some painter's tape and just tape off the half of my cup, a vertical half. And I'm not measuring, I'm not trying to be super exact, just kind of eyeballing from the bottom and then bringing my tape up the sides of the cup. I'm going to wrap the half of my cup with my vinyl the way I always do with my vinyl wraps, and I'm just trying to kind of plan what side I want to show of this vinyl, and I picked the side that has the most going on. So I'm going to wrap that part around my cup and mark it off so that I have about like a ½ inch to an inch of seam allowance on each side. So that means I want my vinyl to kind of hang over those tape edges just to ensure that we get full coverage on that half. So I'm going to peel back one little piece of that backing from the vinyl, and then I'm going to apply it to my cup. And as you can see, I'm applying it up over that tape that we laid down. So that's where that seam allowance comes into play. And I'm just going to spread it on. I'm going to apply it the way I normally do. So I'm going to attach that one little piece and then slowly push the vinyl onto the cup using my thumbs and push the backing away in the process as I smooth the vinyl onto the cup. This footage is sped up, but you want to make sure that you really take your time with this step. So once I've got my vinyl on there, I'm going to go back over that little edge of the tape and cut along that seam. So I'm using the tape as a guide to help me cut a straight line. Of course, I did not cut a perfectly straight line, but that's okay. So I used that as a guide, pulled up that extra tape, and then I did the exact same thing on the other side. I did pull back the tape and just reuse it because we're going to tape off this vinyl side once we're done getting it all applied so we can glitter the other half. So I did that, and then I pulled off this tape and then decided I wanted to take care of the top and bottom before I taped it off. So for the tops and the bottoms of my cups that are vinyl wrapped, I like to finish them the same way every single time. So for the top, I'll pull off that excess like up over the rim and then take a brand new bladed craft knife and cut off the excess and then go in at about a 45-degree angle to trim off any excess that might still be up over there. And then for the bottom rim, I'm going to very tightly pull the excess vinyl up over that bottom rim and then cut on the inside of that little ridge that's at the bottom of Craft Haven cups. Then here I am taping off the other side of our vinyl wrap. So we're just trying to make sure that those lines are straight. I did wrap this with saran wrap and just secured it so I didn't use a whole bunch of painter's tape. And then we're going to paint this other side with metallic gold from Rustoleum. So here it is. I'm going to let it dry about 45 minutes. And then I'm going to go in with the Epoxy Method for my glitter application. I'm taking literally like the tiniest bit of epoxy that I can on my finger. And I'm really taking my time to spread a very, very, very thin layer all over this half of the cup. I don't want any streaking. I don't want any pooling. I want it to be very thin and evenly coated. So I'm going to set it aside, let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then go in with my glitter application. I'm taking Queen Bee from PDB. Of course, this is literally it's just a beautiful like champagne gold. It is so pretty. So I'm just going to cover the entire half of the cup with this glitter. And once I'm done glittering, I'm going to peel off that electrical tape and saran wrap and my painter's tape. So we're going to be left with just our plain cup with no tape anywhere on the cup. I'm going to let this sit and dry about 2 hours, and then I'm going to go in with my first coat of epoxy. I didn't seal this glitter. I just was really careful when I applied my epoxy. So I'm taking 30 milliliters of a little extra ink epoxy, and I'm going to apply it to the vinyl side of our cup first. So just applying a very smooth and even layer, of course, and being really careful to keep it just on the vinyl side. I want to avoid as much contamination as possible. So I'm going to do this vinyl side first and then go in and seal the glitter side of our cup. Just really take your time, go slow, and make sure that you don't get anything mixing. I let this coat of epoxy cure overnight, and then I went in with a second coat of epoxy. That one was about 30 milliliters as well. I let that one sit and cure a full 12 hours, and then I was ready to move on to my decal portion. We're going to use the same technique that I used in my Witchy Woman tumbler tutorial. So we're going to take this piece of kind of beige vinyl, and this is going to be the bottom half of our word on our cup. It's going to be the glittered portion. So we're going to use this beige colored vinyl as kind of like our base color. And then I'm taking my double-sided tape that I got on Amazon, and I'm going to just lay it over this vinyl, and I'm going to peel off that top little backing piece as I layer so that we don't have any gapping or anything. I'm going to overlap my pieces of tape. So I go into a little bit more detail in my Witchy Woman tumbler video if you want to go back and watch that and really learn exactly how I did this. Once I had my tape on my vinyl, I went back in and reapplied those little backing strips that I peeled off so that our machine doesn't have any trouble cutting it. And then I cut it out on my silhouette, and this is what we've got. I cut it out on, it would be kind of like the cardstock setting if you have a Cricut. I think my pressure on my silhouette was like 16, so pretty high. It was a pretty thick little piece. So I'm going to weed it like normal. Just be really careful, take your time with this. And I'm actually going to glitter this before I put it on the cup. In my Witchy Woman tutorial, I applied the vinyl to the cup first and then glittered it while it was already on the cup. So this time I'm going to glitter it first and then apply it. So I'm going to peel back all of those little backing pieces so we've got our other side of our adhesive exposed. And I'm just taking that same glitter, Queen Bee from PDB, and I am glittering the entire thing. I'm going to tap off any excess, and we've got beautiful, perfect glittered letters. So I'm going to set that aside and weed out the rest of my little decal portions here. So I've got the top half of the word happy that I cut out of the same pattern vinyl that we used for our half wrap. And then I also cut out a white kind of like base stencil to make sure that I can apply this perfectly and that all my letters will be lined up and everything will go on well. And I just cut that out of regular like matte white vinyl. So I applied my transfer tape and I put it onto the backing of the transfer tape just so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to cut off the excess on the sides and then leave a little bit of excess transfer tape hanging off the top and bottom because we're going to basically do the hinge method with this application. And I cut this decal at like 9.8 inches tall. I wanted it to take up the entire length of the cup. So this is like a really big statement decal. And I'm trying to get the like little H, the part of the H, to line up with the seam of the cup where we did our split. And once I have that lined up, I'm just going to use the hinge method to apply the decal. So I applied that transfer tape to the top portion of the cup, lifted it up, peeled off the backing, and then hinged the decal down, and it was placed exactly where I wanted it. So I'm going to smooth it all down and then very, very carefully remove my transfer tape. So now we've got a perfect stencil for where to place our glittered letters and our pattern vinyl letters. I'm going to go through with my sharp craft knife and just pop any bubbles. We just had a few. And then I'm going to go in with my transfer tape and apply the top portion of the letters, which is our pattern vinyl. And I'm putting the pattern vinyl on the glittered part of our cup. So this is kind of a reverse, thing. So the pattern vinyl letters are going to go on the glittered side, and the glittered part of the letters are going to go on the vinyl side. So I'm just going letter by letter using my transfer tape and lining up those top letter pieces with the white stencil that we laid down. Having the stencil made a bazillion% difference. Like, this would have been so hard to do just like freehanding it. Once I had the top portion of the letters done with the pattern vinyl, I went into the glitter letters, and these I'm going to apply just using my tweezers and my fingers very, very carefully and slowly. I'm not using transfer tape for obvious reasons. Just going in and really taking my time, making sure that this is lined up as perfectly as I can get it with my tweezers and my fingers. So just going to very gently pat anything down. I'm still being careful. I don't want any of this glitter to like go rogue on me. So just take your time, be really careful, and just make sure everything is patted down and good and on there. So here's what the cup looks like with the main decal applied. I am really, really liking how it is turning out. It looks exactly how I envisioned it in my head. So we're just going to add a couple more details, and then we'll go in with epoxy. So I cut out a little bee, like to be happy, out of a Hyacinth blue vinyl from Teckwrap Craft, and then I also cut out a stripe to line the seam on the other side of the cup where the vinyl and the glitter meet. I should have done that step first because it was a little bit difficult to get that stripe down with the glittered letters on the other side, but it was fine. It was okay. Then I'm going to apply our bee. I'm going to put it up above our main decal so it reads "Be Happy," of course. And I'm just going to put it kind of like so it swirls into the H a little bit. I wanted to look like this was all one big decal and that it all really went together well. So once I've got this decal on my cup, I'm going to take it outside and spray it with 2 coats of semi-gloss clear from Rustoleum. Once my cup was sealed, I went in with a coat of epoxy to really seal it in. So I've got my epoxy mixing here in my Hobby Lobby epoxy mixer. It is my most favorite thing ever. And I'm going to seal in this decal with about, I want to say 30 milliliters of epoxy. So there's a lot of epoxy going on this cup. So I'm sealing in everything on the cup except for the glittered letters. I'm saving those for the end just in case we get any rogue glitter. I just want to be like better safe than sorry, right? So I'm sealing the entire cup, and then I'll go in with a little bit more epoxy and seal in those glitter letters at the very end. Once that coat of epoxy cured, I wanted to take care of the bottom of our cup, so I taped off the bottom with electrical tape how I always do, and then wrapped the cup in saran wrap to protect the rest of the cup. And I'm going to spray paint it with that same metallic gold spray paint we used in the beginning, and then glitter it the same glitter color, so Queen Bee from PDB. And I'm using the spray paint as my adhesive, so I'm going to paint the cup and then immediately go into the glitter on the bottom. So when you go to spray paint, you want to make sure that everything is set up, you've got your paper down, and you've got your glitter ready so you can just paint and then go right into your glitter. I'm going to let that sit and dry about 45 minutes and then go into my final coats of epoxy. So right after glittering, I took off my tape and saran wrap and everything and then let the cup sit. Before I go into my final coat of epoxy, I am going to clean up my rim. So I took an X-Acto knife and just trimmed off any epoxy that got up onto the top of my rim. And then I'm going to go in with a 60 grit sanding block and just sand that top rim. The rest of the cup, because we have so much epoxy on it, doesn't really need very much sanding. Once I'm done sanding, I'm going to just clean that rim and the whole cup off with some 91% rubbing alcohol that I sprayed on a paper towel. I'm going to let that fully dry, just let it sit about 10 minutes. And then I went into the final coats of epoxy for real. So I did another coat of about 30 milliliters, and then for the final coat, I did about 15, just to give it a little extra protection. For this 30 milliliter coat, this first final coat, I guess, I'm going to put on an extra glove, so I'm double gloved here, and I'm going to seal that bottom glitter portion first, and then take off that top glove, so I'm still got my glove on, and I can just go right into epoxy in the rest of my cup. You can do this however you wanted to. That just made sense in my head to do it that way, just get it all out of the way at once. So I'm going to apply this coat of epoxy to the rest of my cup, and then I'll add that final coat afterwards. Once that final coat was cured, here's what our cup looks like. It's all done. I really, really love how it turned out, and I want to do this with a whole bunch of other positive sayings and these kind of buzzwords that just make you feel good. So I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you're inspired by this design, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. So be sure to tag me in your photos at Made by MANIANDMAL if you recreate this design. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to our channel if you are not already. That really helps us out and ensures that you don't miss any of our new videos. We upload every single Tuesday and Saturday. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Okay, love you. Bye.